In this episode of About the House, I'm following a young couple in Dundrum, Dublin. Ailish Gavin and John Healy are taking an extremely inefficient bungalow with a very low building energy rating of G. They're hoping to take it all the way up to an A, whilst also completely renovating it along the way. This is a serious challenge, so will they manage it? Ailish Gavin and John Healy have decided it's time to put some roots down, and so have bought a 1940s bungalow in Dundrum. It's dated and inefficient and needs to be brought into the 21st century. I came to meet them at the bungalow before work started to find out more. Tell us a little bit now about what you're going to do with the house.
There are a number of things that we wanted initially from the renovations. We need to bring it up to a certain standard in terms of an energy rating.
There's no insulation in this house at all at the moment, so and no central heating. It currently has a G rating.
G rating, so it couldn't be worse than that.
Exactly.
Right. It'll be incredibly expensive now to heat a house with a G rating like this.
Yeah.
John and Ailish have set themselves the goal of dramatically improving their energy rating to bring it up to an A. This will mean the running costs of the house will be 1/10 of what they currently are. They're not only completely upgrading their bungalow, but remodelling it too, as well as extending into the attic. Everything in the house will be replaced, from the floors to the bathrooms to the kitchen, to turn it into a modern and spacious home. What's the budget now for your project?
We're hoping to get in around the 70,000 kind of mark, but
That's the hope.
yeah.
This is a healthy budget, but they've a lot to accomplish with it. There's not enough room in their attic to convert it into a living space by building regulation standards, but they'll be able to use it as storage and as a loft to relax in so that they have more space. However, this is going to cause a problem in terms of all the energy upgrading they want to do. It's difficult to insulate because of headroom difficulties, because you're so confined in headroom. So the real solution to this would be to take the tiles off the roof. There's a big job, and externally insulate it. Now that means building up the roof maybe 10 inches above where it is. That way you wouldn't be compromising the headroom upstairs, but you could put a huge amount of insulation on the roof. I don't know whether you've ever considered that.
It's not something we've thought of.
No.
It sounds like maybe it's, in an ideal world, it might be the perfect job to do, but it also sounds very expensive, and I don't know if we could maybe stretch that far.
So this could be a real issue for John and Ailish if they want to achieve an A rating. Also, the thickness of external insulation doesn't seem to be enough to achieve such a high rating. Well, it's really good the way you're insulating the house, but I do notice you're putting 100 millimetres of insulation, external insulation on the walls. Now that's great that you're doing it that way, but if you could increase that to 150 millimetres, in other words to 6 inches, it would make a huge difference to the insulation of the walls and probably will add about 5% more onto the cost, in that order. Not very much. Could you extend your budget, do you think?
There's a certain amount of scope there that we can possibly spend a little more.
And insulation is one of the things that's more important to us. It's very important.
Yeah, it is definitely a priority for us.
something like that.
And especially when you're doing it, you do it once, you want it done for life. You know, you want never have to go back to it again. And the investment will definitely pay off over time.
Yeah, that's the point.
Whilst John and Ailish have to think over what I have suggested, I'm meeting their architect, André Negri, to explain to him why I think taking the roof tiles off is a good idea. One of the problems I have, André, with attics is that lots of compromises being made, you know?
That's correct, yeah.
Headroom is usually so restrictive that insulation is compromised.
Yes.
But also, because roofing felts don't breathe, typically, then you have to leave this ventilation layer. I wondered if he felt more positive about taking the tiles off to get around this problem.
That's a very good idea, but the one problem we have, if I show you on the model here, is this is a semi-detached house, and the neighbour's part of the house is here, so it would mean we would have a line of about 300 mil difference between my client's house and the neighbour's.
Now, the external insulation too, you're putting 100 millimetres forward.
100 mils all the way around.
Which is great, and it's a great way to insulate. But could you increase that to 6 inches?
Well, ideally we would increase it more, but we're also governed by the length of the eaves. The eaves are just over 100 mils.
This is a real issue. Andre will have to think carefully about how he can increase the insulation on the walls to 150 millimetres when he has eaves extending just over 100 millimetres. A few weeks later, I was back on site and work had definitely started. Demolition was going on everywhere to make way for John and Ailish's new layout and attic space. I was excited to see so much activity going on. Andre was on site to tell me whether they'd been able to incorporate any of my suggestions. But apparently, taking the tiles off the roof was a step too far. So he decided not to take the tiles off the roof and insulate above the rafters.
Yes, we decided not to do that because it would just cost far too much, especially the additional height difference at the party wall between the junction of this property and the next property. There would be a planning issue there.
Instead, they've decided to highly insulate and airtight the floor of the attic and make the attic space separate from the thermal envelope of the house. And the double height area of the roof will have 270 millimetres of insulation. And Andre had some great news about the wall insulation. Have you done anything to upgrade the walls?
Yes, we are now looking at putting 180 millimetres
Of insulation
all the way around. And we also have solved the detail along the eaves on the side gable. And by putting an additional channel of aluminium there, we can prevent any water overhang happening at that detail.
So that's great. It's even more external insulation than I was expecting. Elia Cassandro, John and Ailish's Italian builder, was also on site. How long are you building in Ireland now?
Around 12 years.
And are you doing much retrofit work?
At the moment, it's where the work seems to be is obviously extensions, renovations, and obviously improving the insulation of the existing houses.
So what's the biggest challenge for you with this project here?
Well, at the moment, this house is as a G.
G-rated.
Rated, yeah. So it's the worst you can get. We're trying to bring it up to possibly an A.
Well, I'm glad now that they've managed to beef up the level of insulation and improve the performance of the house. But they've set a very ambitious goal, going from a G rating to an A rating. That's not going to be easy, so let's see if they can manage it. After the break, I'll be back in Dundrum to see if John and Ailish are still on track to get their A rating. Back in Dundrum, things are going well. The attic conversion is really starting to take shape. However, Ailish had some potentially bad news about the A rating they were hoping for.
In the last few days, we've just discovered that we really wanted solar panels and we really wanted a combi boiler, and the two systems just don't work together. So we've just discovered that we'll have to pick between them, and we're really disappointed because we really wanted the solar panels, we really wanted an A rating on the house, and without the solar panels I don't think we will get one.
A combi boiler is much more convenient as it provides instant hot water. And Ailish doesn't want to compromise on this, but unfortunately solar panels aren't designed to work with them. Andre was feeling very frustrated about this.
Well, I'm really disappointed at the moment because we've worked really hard to get to this stage, and not to achieve an A rating now I'd be gutted, you know. Well, I'm not going to give up yet. I think we just have to work harder and we need to contact more suppliers. We have to get the best solution for this house.
This is a worrying development for everyone. So much time and money has been invested in trying to get it to this high level, that it would be heartbreaking to see them unable to achieve it after all. A week later, I was back on site, and things were still moving along well. The windows were being installed, which is a really important step, as now the inside can start being finished. Mick Cullen was there to explain more about the windows John and Ailish were installing.
Mick, I believe you've achieved an A rating now with your windows.
That's really good. How have you done that?
We have 3 panes of glass, obviously, and 2 of our panes incorporate the low-E coating, which reflects your heat back into the room, and that incorporated with argon gas fill and warm edge spacer bar is really the most cutting-edge technology in the glass these days.
Now, to fit these windows into an externally insulated house, how do you do that with these windows?
The window is especially designed to complement external insulation, so the windows themselves are insulated frames, and they're designed with insulation externally to meet with the external insulation on the building for optimum performance on the product overall.
It's great to see John and Ailish getting such high-performance windows. But I really wanted to know if the team had found a way around the issues with the combi boiler and the solar collectors. Eli, has there been any developments now with the problem with the solar collectors?
Yes, actually, just this morning we found a solution to the problem. I found out there is a system from a company called Alpha that does a solar panel that can be used in conjunction with a combi boiler.
The solar collectors feed into a buffer tank, which directly feeds the hot taps and showers. But if this water isn't hot enough, a thermostatic valve diverts the preheated water to the combi boiler, which boosts it to the required temperature. Ailish is on her way down to site and doesn't yet know. So Elia is really excited to break the news to her.
Hi, Ailish.
Hi Ailish, how are you? Good to see you.
Elia, how are you?
Hi, Jim.
Eli's got some good news
Oh,
about the solar.
okay.
Yes, we found a solution, so we will be able to use the solar panel in conjunction to the combi boiler. We just found a system that
Oh, really?
will allow us to do it. Yeah.
So we get our solar panels?
Yes.
Are you kidding? Oh, that's fantastic.
This new system means John and Ailish will be able to have their combination boiler and also get their A-rated house as well. In a few weeks, I'm going to be back on site, and hopefully John and Ailish will be living happily in their spacious A-rated house. But there's still a lot to do if they're to be in the house in just under 4 weeks. Over the next few weeks, Elia and his team work furiously to get the job done. With all these extra hours they're putting in, hopefully they'll manage to get it finished. 4 weeks later, I'm back on site, and miraculously, they seem to have managed it. And on going inside, I see they really have. The house is completely finished, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Ailish and John told me how it felt to be in their lovely new home. Well, Ailish and John, you must be thrilled to be into your home.
Oh, we're absolutely delighted. It's been so exciting seeing it all come together, and to finally be in here now is just brilliant.
It's
And
fantastic.
on time too.
I know.
Time, incredible.
It seemed like a tight
incredible.
schedule.
Yeah. It was a really tight schedule, and everybody says to you, "Oh, it won't get done," but they did a brilliant job. And
Yeah, the builders did a fantastic job. I can't believe that they've actually got this much done in this time. It's amazing.
Well, I came with my hard hat today thinking it was going to be a building site. And I was absolutely amazed. I really didn't believe it could be possible to get it done. It's fantastic. And we were all about to find out if the house had managed to achieve the A rating everyone had been striving for. Anne-Marie Fallon was on site calculating their BER. And the news is good. You've got a building energy rating of an A3. Anne-Marie just told me.
That is brilliant.
that's
Yeah,
brilliant.
we thought we might get close, but we just didn't know.
didn't know if
whether
we were
were-
quite going to get it because it's supposed to be very difficult to get. But
Yeah,
that's
well,
brilliant.
That's fantastic
absolutely
news.
brilliant.
This is such a great result. I'm really happy for John and Ailish and so impressed with Andre, Elia and the team, who have shown what you can achieve if you put your mind to it. Well, it's great to see a project with a happy ending. Not alone have John and Ailish got into their house in time, but they achieved the A rating that they were striving for all along. Fantastic.